Yeah, what are you?
Members to the bridge. All.
Every crew. 1 minute. I will kill someone.
أبها ما عندها إيه يا كلب. Yo, we gonna talk about money, so let's get into that. It's your boy Big AK, the General, Baba At. I'm gonna be honest with you, a lot of y'all haven't made money since the epidemic of crack. So let me show you how the game works and how it's hard then. So let's just do a step back.
Bang, 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 bang.
Instead of making time, y'all out here wasting time. And you see, we were given time, but what I'm gonna drop is gonna give you time. Everyone is a slave to something. It's just a human flaw. But you know what you should be a slave of? The most merciful, the most gracious, the one and only God, Allah. And follow the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad Rasulullah. So you could be like Big AK in the future and ride in the... What to do, YouTube? It's your boy Big AK and I'm back at again with another video. Over here about to react to the man who robbed an entire country. I'm gonna put the link in the description below and let's get to it. Prologue, the story of Joe Low.
Joe Low had more spending power than just about anyone on earth.
One of the biggest heists in history.
Joe Low just stole billions of dollars.
One of the biggest frauds.
Corruption cases ever.
He gets to know Leonardo DiCaprio build a Hollywood empire. They make the Wolf of Wall Street with the stolen money.
He made the Wolf of Wall Street? I mean, that wasn't like Warner Bros. Or something. I mean, nah, they'll probably explain. Let's get into it, you know what I mean?
And nobody knows the truth about him.
This is Joe Low. He's one of the most wanted men in the world after stealing around $4.5 billion, one of the biggest scams in history that he pulled off whilst in his 20s. And that money wasn't tied up in assets. This was liquid cash which he could spend, meaning Joe Low probably had more spending power than anyone else on earth. And boy, did he...
More spending power at the age of 20? That's like the worst combination. I mean, not the greatest combination a person can have, bro. It's like the worst combination for like, I don't know, bro. That's crazy though.
He enjoyed that money. Joe Low built a reputation as one of the top spenders in casinos and nightclubs, often splurging hundreds of thousands of dollars on drinks per night. He bought private jets and mansions and Picasso artworks, and lived an extraordinary life of partying and luxury. Honestly, his life resembled something out of the Wolf of Wall Street, which is ironic.
Yo, if you didn't watch Wolf of Wall Street, bro, I would recommend it. Cause that's just crazy, bro. I'm not gonna lie, after I watched that video, like another ounce of hunger and money just entered me, you feel me? That was in like high school, bro. I never watched it. After I watched it, I was like, whoa, chill out. I need to get like that.
Because it was Joe Low who finally...
But you know the halal way, you feel me? Got the halal way, come on now. The halal way.
Financed that movie. Yep, Joe Low used stolen money from his financial scam to fund the Hollywood blockbuster about a financial scam. But how does a guy born on a small Malaysian island end up becoming friends with Hollywood stars, dating supermodels, and pulling off one of the biggest financial frauds ever? Welcome to the insane true story of Joe Low. Joe Low was born in the Malaysian island of Penang, but in 1998, Joe Low's parents sent him to Harrow, a prestigious boarding school in England. Joe Low would later reflect on this and say, "That time was very important for me. That's when I built the core foundation of context for the future." You see, whilst Joe Low's family were wealthy, many of Joe's classmates at Harrow were a whole different level of wealth. Many of them were children from royal families or oil magnates. So whilst Joe was the son of a millionaire, many of the people he was now hanging around with were the sons of billionaires.
Nah, that's crazy. That's crazy. That's like what used to be seen in the movies, like the school full of billionaires and millionaires. Like, no wonder, like, that's why you say he got those connections from there, bro. You know, just an average Joe going to regular high school, bro. Nobody's parents are millionaires like that. Maybe a few, not a lot.
But Jolo sensed an opportunity here and tried to build friendships with some of these extremely wealthy students. To try and impress them, he invited them to spend a summer in Malaysia, and he then borrowed a 160-foot yacht from a rich family friend and pretended it was his own yacht by changing all the family photos on board to pictures of him. He wanted his super rich friends to believe he was one of them.
Nah, he's certified. He is certified.
Jolo also tried to position himself as a person who could get stuff done for people. He once managed to get the letterhead of the Brunei embassy and forged a letter to a very famous nightclub in the West End asking if they could reserve a VIP table by pretending he was a member of the Brunei royal family. And it worked.
He is certified, bro. Instead of making a movie about Wall Street, bro, he should have made a movie about himself. I mean,
Jolo and his
let's get into the video, bro. Like, let's see what happens.
underage friends went partying alongside famous football players and models in this high-end nightclub. It was an early lesson for Jolo that the appearance of power and prestige could unlock all kinds of doors. After Harrow, Jolo went to Wharton University in America, and he was continually trying to build his personal brands. For example, he wrote articles on stocks for the Wharton Journal, his university's newspaper. However, Jolo was just copying reports written by Wall Street analysts and pretending they were his own. But somehow nobody noticed Jolo was just plagiarizing these articles, and thus he developed a reputation as a great stock picker despite actually having no experience. Jolo also drove a Lexus convertible around campus that he claimed he'd bought but was really just leasing, and he deliberately didn't correct rumors he was a prince of Malaysia. Jolo was essentially building a persona to help get him in the right social circles. He'd figured out who the wealthiest students at the university were and then actively pursued friendships with them, just like he'd done at Harrow. Jolo's ability to network so well would ultimately be what allowed him to pull off one of the greatest financial heists ever. So, whilst at university, Jolo decided to throw a massive luxury party for his birthday that year, and he rented out an exclusive nightclub with an open bar and sent out invites with his name written in large fonts. Whilst Jolo definitely enjoyed partying, to him, the whole thing was more of an investment. He wanted to appear successful and make sure everyone remembered him, so he made sure the whole event had a very exclusive feel to it, so that every attendee felt important. However, what the party attendees didn't realize is that Jolo had only put down a deposit for the party, and after the event, he was stalling on paying the club owners the rest of the money that they'd been promised. You see, even though Jolo regularly got sent money from his father, he didn't actually have enough money to pay for the entire event, so he ended up stalling for months and eventually negotiating a massive discount with the club owners. But it didn't matter. None of the party attendees knew this. They just assumed he was as rich as he said he was. And thus, Jolo's plan was working. He was making friends with very influential people and building up a reputation. Jolo fully bought into the idea that it's not just what you know, it's who you know.
Boom, that's a fact. Because, like, everybody be talking about connections. And I feel like people just be sleeping on it, you know? They'll go pursue the degree. They'll go get the good grades, they'll go do this, they'll go do that, and they'll forget. They'll be like, nah, I don't need to do I don't need to go connect with these people, bro. I don't need to go out, you know, I don't need to put myself out there. I gotta go get my certificate. I gotta go do this and that. Fact is, bro, you know, I mean, it's telling us right here, bro. You gotta connect, you know, you gotta connect. You gotta be that guy. I mean, like, there gotta be some truth in you when you connect to these people, bro. I mean, obviously you're gonna like them in some ways, but you don't gotta be best friends with everybody you know. You know, you can just be friends. You feel me?
And he was happy to lie about who he was and how much money he had in order to get in with the right people. Using these
dog, bro. You can't be lying, bro. You gotta keep a halal, feel me? You know, there's a line, bro. But obviously, bro, everybody got their own morals, so you do what you gotta do.
New connections, Jolo managed to persuade some of his Arab friends he'd made to set up a tour around the Middle East, where he then met with some of the richest families and made more influential connections, including some minor royals. One of them later commented how Jolo seemed particularly interested about power structures in the Middle East, and that he seemed to be trying to understand who controlled the money in each country. However, one of the most important connections of all that Jolo made was with the people who ran Abu Dhabi's sovereign wealth fund. Now, quick side note, what the hell is a sovereign wealth fund? Well, it's essentially a giant pool of money that's controlled by a nation's government. Most commonly, they're used by countries that are dependent on a single resource, like countries in the Middle East whose economies are highly dependent on oil, and they use these funds to diversify their money into other assets and investments. However, these sovereign wealth funds have so much cash and are mostly unregulated with very little transparency or oversight. And that's why they would be crucial for Jolo's future schemes. But first, after essentially going on a networking tour around the Middle East, Jolo returned to university to graduate. And it was at that point Jolo set up his own company, which he called the Winton Group. He told friends that he'd chosen the name because he was going to win tons of money. Seriously. The basic idea behind the company was that he'd broker deals between Middle Eastern investors who wanted to get involved in projects in Malaysia. So Jolo got luxurious offices for this new company in the famous Petronas Towers, which he couldn't really afford, but he managed to arrange a loan from a local bank because Jolo knew it was important to give off the perception this was a serious and successful business. Of course, he now needed some actual clients. And luckily for Jolo, all of his networking with wealthy elites was about to start paying off in a very major way.
Bro, this man, like, he's got to risk it, you feel me? He had a plan, he had a vision. And the thing is, when he went through the plan, he definitely had some doubts. I promise you, a lot of people, like, they have a plan, they have a vision in the beginning, and they go through it, you know? And they see the risk, and see the risk, they see the risk. And, you know, they have some doubts, and then maybe they stop or they take a break or... Feel me? But you just gotta see it through, my boy. You gotta see it through, my boy.
5-minute long here on Chewy. We have a big up arrow. As you can see, this
Look
is
at this
all
camera,
real
bro.
time using the master indicator.
Don't be like
we have
him.
a big...
One of Jolo's best friends from his days at Harrow was Riza Aziz, who was the stepson of a prominent Malaysian government official called Najib Razak. In fact, by the time Jolo had started his company up, Najib had become Deputy Prime Minister of Malaysia, which obviously meant he had a lot of power, and Jolo knew there could be some huge advantages for him if he could get inside Najib's inner circle. Of course, just being good friends with Najib's stepson wasn't enough by itself. Jolo had to prove his value. And that's when Jolo heard that Malaysia was looking for partners to develop a giant construction project. The idea for it was basically to build a financial and lifestyle center similar to Singapore, but they needed investors. Jolo saw an opportunity here. Using the wealthy connections he'd made in the Middle East, he was able to broker a deal where they would invest in Malaysia's construction projects. But here's the crucial part. Jolo let Najib, Malaysia's Deputy Prime Minister, take all the credit for the deal, despite not having to do any of the work. This massively boosted Najib's popularity with the Malaysian people, as he was now seen as a politician who could attract big investments and help propel Malaysia forwards. In fact,
Yo, if you guys read the 48 Laws of Power, I don't know who did, but you know that's one of the laws. I'm not gonna speak on it, you know, but you know that's one of the laws. You know, let other people take credit in the beginning. That's one of the laws. That's not the full law, but that's like the main point of it.
In fact, this popularity he gained was one of the factors in helping him become Prime Minister of Malaysia in 2009. Now, Jolo's original business model was that he'd simply get a fee for brokering these kinds of deals, but he didn't actually get a fee for this construction project. Instead, Jolo got something better. He was now loved by Najib, who was extremely grateful to Jolo. And so, in 2000...
Once again, bro, it's about connections, yo. Like, bro, sometimes you just gotta work for free, but what you'll get from it will be worth more than the actual paycheck, the actual dollars, you feel me? You know, that's why people be working internships. You know, they get paid like nothing, but they still be doing mad work just because they can get the connections, get the breach, you know, be friends with the CEO, be friends with the assistant, be friends with the, you know, and like, that's like kind of just like brought into like college students, like, yo, you should go do an internship, oh, blah, blah, blah. But like people, I feel like some people just overlook like the reason why people do internships. And if you do like basically like an internship in something in a high level, like what Joe Lowe is doing, you know, he did all that work, he got the connections, but he'll let that guy take all the credit. That's what he's supposed to do, and became his favorite. Feel me? Like internships, bro, you be doing mad work, blah blah blah, but at the end of the day, who gets a credit? It's a person you're working under. Feel me? Well, let's get into it. Yo, 48 Laws of Power, bro. I'm telling you, read that book. If you're a youngin', bro, read that book. But don't let it get to your head, but read the book, though.
In 2009, when Najib became Prime Minister of Malaysia, it meant Jolo, who at this point was just 20. And so, in 2009, when Najib became Prime Minister of Malaysia,
he's best friends with the President of Malaysia, the Prime Minister. Oh, wait. Either way, I don't know, Prime Minister or the President. You friends with the Prime Minister? That's crazy.
And Jolo, who at this point was just 27 years old, now had the ear of the most powerful man in the country.
Also, bro, if you see an opportunity, bro, you gotta take it. Like, he knew that his friend is a stepson of this important guy, you feel me? You know? And he just took the opportunity. It's not like he threw the friend of the bus. He's probably still friends with him. But he just took the opportunity, you feel me? You know, you only get a certain amount of opportunities in your life, bro. There's like a pursuit of happiness quote. I'm gonna put it right here. I don't know if I'm even gonna put it right there. Proceeded having this quote about how like, bro, I'm gonna just, bro, if you, Will Smith's son said the quote about how like God will give you certain chances, blah 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 blah, and you gotta take it, bro. If you have an opportunity, bro, you just gotta take it.
And Jolo didn't stop there. He tried to fully embed himself into Najib's family. He bought Najib's wife expensive jewelry, and even paid for Najib's daughter's college tuition, as well as attending her graduation ceremony. By this point, Najib trusted Jolo fully, and so after Najib was sworn in as Prime Minister of Malaysia, Jolo wasted no time in approaching him with an idea. Jolo said Malaysia should create their own sovereign wealth fund, similar to the ones in the Middle East, which could be used to invest all around the world. And so together, they set up the One Malaysia Development Berhad, or the 1MDB Fund for short. Now officially, the 1MDB fund was supposed to develop the country's economy. It would supposedly be used to invest in green energy and tourism and create high quality jobs for all Malaysians. But Jolo explained to Najib that if he put him in charge of the fund, they could use some of the money as a war chest to fund Najib's political goals. For example, the fund could be used for Najib to host big events, or to build affordable housing in areas where Najib hadn't received many votes in the election, as a way to get more of the country loyal to him. Jolo had the Malaysian Prime Minister in the palm of his hand. He'd helped Najib get elected, and now he was proposing a deal.
Let me put you on to game, right? So you know on the chessboard, right? There's a king, and there's a queen. And then the king, right? The king can only move like one move, two move, left, right, up, down. He can't go up and down the board. But the queen, aka the queen, can go up, down, side to side, kill everybody. It's a deadliest piece on the board, you feel me? That's what the queen is. But the king, which is the most important, can only move one side to side. And the thing is, originally, the queen isn't, like, the name of the queen on the chessboard, it's not called the queen. It's called the minister. So it was a king that can only move up, down, side to side, but it's a minister that can go up all the way around the board to the deadliest piece. And that's basically what this man was doing. He was being the minister, aka the queen, which is not really called the queen, bro. It's called the minister, aka the minister, going up, down, side to side, blah blah blah. Like, if you know Napoleon Bonaparte, Napoleon, bro, everybody knows Napoleon. His prime minister, what's his name, bro? What's that nigga's name, bro? Yo, I ain't gonna lie, bro, I forgot his name. But what I'm trying to tell you is that behind every major political figure, like a president, you know, even assistant president, a CEO, I mean, not a CEO, the owner of the company, there's a big guy, right? He only may be making like one move, two move, three move, four moves, right? Like when it really matters. But there's a guy that's moving all around the board, killing niggas like at left to right, bro. You want to make it, bro, you gotta beat that person, bro. Did you watch Scarface? Tony Montana, you feel me? He was that. He was a, aka the queen. He was a prime minister on the board, the queen on the chessboard, making those moves, bro. Bush, his assistant, I don't know what that guy's name is, bro. He's the one that making the moves on the board, bro. Like, if you're really about like wealth, fame, and power, that's what you gotta do.
To help Najib consolidate power even further. To Najib, the whole idea seemed like a win-win. So, Najib let Jolo run the 1MDB fund and do whatever he wanted with basically no oversight. Officially, Najib had the title of the fund's chairman.
Come on, bro. I'm telling you, bro. Like, big AK, bro.
Whilst Jolo was simply classed as an advisor, but in reality, Jolo controlled the whole fund.
But in reality, he controlled the whole fund, bro. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all, bro. But in reality, bro, he may be the title, the king, the prime minister, bro, or whatever, bro, but he's not the queen or whatever, the minister that be moving up and down the board, killing niggas left and right.
And he hired people he knew well as staff who were blindly loyal to him. Meaning, Jolo essentially had full control over what to do with Malaysia's billion-dollar fund. Within a couple of months, Jolo had found the first deal for the 1MDB fund to invest in. Using connections Jolo had made in Saudi Arabia, he'd arranged a joint venture with the oil company Petro Saudi. The plan was that 1MDB would invest $1 billion into the...
Let me tell y'all something. If you like get in connection with like one of these oil companies in Saudi, you're making billions of dollars, bro. I went to Saudi just recently. Hint, there's about to be a video about it very soon. But I went to Saudi recently. And gas there is like 5 American cents or like 10 American cents or 15 cents a gallon, bro. Imagine 15 cents a gallon, bro. These people are swimming in money, bro. I feel like if Saudi really wanted to take over the world in terms of like, bro, they have enough funds and cash to do so, bro. Like, the fact that gas is 15 cents over there and it's $5 over here, $10 over here is crazy to me, bro.
This oil project, which was basically all the money in the fund at the time. But Jolo got permission from Najib to transfer the money from 1MDB's account, since Najib was happy to trust Jolo fully. However, since Jolo was fully in charge of the money, he actually...
I'm gonna tell you right now, how much I bet Jolo is gonna somehow overtake the Prime Minister, the King, bro. It always happens, bro. Read the 40 Laws of Power.
Only sent $300 million to the joint venture account with Petro Saudi, whilst the remaining $700 million went to a company called Goodstar Limited, which had a bank account in Switzerland. Jolo claimed that Goodstar Limited was a company owned by the Saudis, and said that 1MDB had to send the money to Goodstar as part of the deal, because of a debt they had to pay before the joint venture could continue. But this wasn't true. This Goodstar Limited was merely a shell company, and it used something called bearer shares. Now, with normal shares in a company, they'd be registered to an individual's name, and there'd be a registry of who owns shares in the company. However, a bearer share is a type of share where whoever holds the physical share certificate has full ownership of it, thus making it very hard to tell who really owns the company, and therefore making it very useful for frauds. In the case of Goodstar Limited, it was later revealed that there was only one physical share, and that share was held by Jolo. In other words, Jolo had just sent $700 million from the 1MDB fund to Goodstar Limited's bank accounts, and Jolo owned 100% of Goodstar Limited's. So on paper, it seemed like 1MDB had simply invested in the Petro-Saudi joint venture as planned, but in reality, Jolo had just paid himself $700 million.
That's finesse, bro. That is finesse, bro. Like, that is finesse. No.
In many ways, it was such an incredibly simple...
Bro, it's like, bro, you just imagine, bro. You just imagine.
...move. But it was the meticulous planning to get to this position of power in the first place that had made it possible. And
I promise you, the plans that he did were just like... It's like steps, bro. It's just common sense of steps. But there's risk to it, obviously. You feel me?
Early age, Jolo had been actively seeking the right connections, and then providing value to those connections in order to cultivate such an influential and powerful network who trusted him. He'd identified sovereign wealth funds as a tool that could be easily exploited, and once he'd got the Malaysian Prime Minister to grant him full power of the 1MDB fund, siphoning off money for his own personal gain had been relatively straightforward. He just had to bribe a few senior people for their silence, but that wasn't hard to do when he just got $700 million, and had deliberately surrounded himself with loyal yes men. And now, it was time for the real fun to begin.
5 minute long here on Chewy. We have a big up arrow. As you can see, this is all real time using the master indicator.
I just don't care about that.
Jolo had successfully taken money from the Malaysian fund and funneled it to Swiss bank accounts under the guise it was an investment, and he'd then used friends in high-ranking positions to make sure nobody questioned anything. Jolo now had hundreds of millions of dollars sat in a bank account. This is very different to most rich people whose wealth is heavily tied up in companies' stock or investments, but for Jolo, it was all available to spend, and he could do whatever he wanted with it. So, with all of this stolen money, Jolo began living a life of luxury. He went on a spending spree of yachts, mansions, and sports cars. He even bought a big hotel in Beverly Hills. But most nights, you'd find Jolo at an exclusive nightclub or casino. In fact, it's reported that in the 8 months between October 2009 and June 2010, Jolo and his friends spent around $85 million on private jets, alcohol, gambling, and paying models and Hollywood celebrities to party with them.
85 mil is crazy, bro. 85 mil is crazy, bro.
It was non-stop partying and networking. You see, Jolo realized he could use the money from 1MDB to get close to the rich and famous and build an even greater reputation for himself. And thus, he put the word out in show business circles that he was happy to pay celebs over $100,000 a night to attend his parties.
Damn.
Even to rich celebrities, they'd never...
Damn. That's when what these rappers are making a show. I mean, some of them. You know, Jay-Z. I don't even know, bro. 100K in a night? Jay-Z's making 100K a night, bro. 100K a show. AB, bro.
Never seen anything quite like Jolo's levels of spending. This was a whole different level of rich. He'd lose $1 million in a game of poker.
Yo, answer this in the comments, bro. Bad Bunny making 100K a night from a show?
And wouldn't seem to care. As a result, Jolo got to meet all kinds of famous people. For example, Jolo had fantasized about Paris Hilton since his college days. Now he was regularly hanging out with her. There's also stories of Jolo being in a Las Vegas hotel suite with Leonardo DiCaprio, surrounded by 20 Playboy bunnies. Jolo would also buy out prestigious clubs, and then throw secret parties with friends and celebrities. He'd give out incredibly expensive gifts, like he gave Kim Kardashian a white Ferrari for a wedding. And he'd casually hand out designer bags that cost tens of thousands of dollars to people he'd literally just met. And to be fair, Jolo threw some of the biggest parties imaginable. There was one particular party he threw in Vegas for his birthday that felt more like a major concert. It had all kinds of celebrities, including Kanye West, Bradley Cooper, Robert De Niro, Michael Phelps, Kim Kardashian, Paris Hilton, and even Psy was there to sing Gangnam Style.
This guy's different, bro. This is happening right in front of our faces. I mean, at least Kanye, like, Robert De Niro, like, these are people that, like, you know, our day and age, bro. This is not no 1990. That's crazy.
Oh, and he even got Britney Spears to burst out of a cake to serenade him by singing Happy Birthday. That single night is rumored to have cost tens of millions of dollars. Most of the celebrities at these events were often being paid to be there. The truth is, even the biggest stars didn't turn down hundreds of thousands of dollars to attend an event. However,
that's a fact, bro. Money talks, bro. Money talks.
He had to admit, Jolo knew how to throw an amazing party, and Jolo felt if his parties were successful, his own status would grow, helping him attract even more powerful people into his life. And he was indeed getting a reputation. When newspapers heard he'd sent 23 bottles to Lindsay Lohan's table on a night out, they dubbed him the big spending Malaysian, the mystery man of the city club scene. And being surrounded by celebrities of course raised Jolo's profile further, and at one point he reportedly dated the model Miranda Kerr, who he showered with expensive gifts. But the insanity didn't stop there. For example, for New Year's, Jolo said he wanted to experience it twice. So Jolo, along with some friends and celebrities, got on a private plane and flew to Sydney in Australia. Then, after celebrating New Year's once, they flew back to Las Vegas in order to celebrate the countdown to midnight a second time in the same night. There was also another incident where Jolo got into a bidding war with someone for a bottle of champagne and ended up spending 2 million euros on it. Some even started calling Jolo the Asian Great Gatsby. But this wasn't just a reference
2 million euros on a bottle, that's like 4 million American dollars. That's crazy.
To him throwing so many expensive, over-the-top parties. It was also because Jolo seemed to observe his own parties, rather than be actively involved in them. He'd sort of be watching on, and repeatedly checking with people if they were having a good time and enjoying it, rather than actually enjoying it himself. Many of his guests tried to speak with him, but the conversations never seemed to get very far beyond small talk. He actually seemed quite shy, but he clearly had an overwhelming desire to please people. One attendee even commented that it felt fake, as if they were just there to go through the motions and entertain and look cool as a group, rather than actually have fun. It was ultimately about the pretense of wealth, prestige, and status. However, back then,
You know what I'm wondering, bro? Like, all the parties, all the money, all this, like, what is he really chasing after? Like, what is he chasing after? Like, here they got the 800 mil, like, he's getting breached. Like, what is he really chasing after? Because if he was chasing, like, being famous and, like, I don't know, bro. I don't know what he was chasing after. Maybe he was just trying to keep up his status, you know?
If you search for Jolo on Google, very little came up. He was still shrouded in mystery, and people were left to speculate how he got so rich. Some thought he was an arms dealer, or that he was descended from royalty. But despite the party playboy reputation, Jolo's closest friends nicknamed him Panda, which they said was because he was plump and cuddly. For years, Jolo methodically cultivated relationships with the wealthiest and most powerful people on the planet. But he also tried to learn what motivated them and see how he could assist them. So far, the stolen money from 1MDB had been spent on the lavish lifestyle of Jolo, along with some of it going to a political slush fund for Najib, the Malaysian Prime Minister. But Jolo now wanted to use some of the money to start a legitimate business. Since Jolo loved the LA lifestyle, he decided he wanted to get involved in Hollywood himself, and helped fund a production company called Red Granite Pictures. Just like with the 1MDB fund, Jolo didn't take an official title at the company, as he didn't want records of his involvements. He preferred to be the secret money man behind it, having an active role from the shadows. Around this time, Jolo heard that DiCaprio and Scorsese wanted to make a film about the Wolf of Wall Street, but couldn't get any of the major Hollywood studios to give them the $100 million budget they needed to make the film. The studio said it was too risky to spend that much on a film that would get R-rated and thus a reduced audience. So instead, Jolo's production company helped finance the movie and gave DiCaprio and Scorsese full creative control over it. As a result,
this man's goated, bro. He's doing what you're supposed to do, bro. Like, I don't even know. I really don't know, bro. I'm a youngin', bro. I don't know, bro. But I know, but he's doing what you're supposed to do, bro. There's things that you read about. There's things that you see on Instagram and TikTok. There's things that, like, what Jolo was doing, he said he saw opportunity, he took it, bro. He saw Leonardo DiCaprio, he saw Michael Scorsese. Are you crazy for turning them down? Obviously, Sony Pictures and all them other bozos can do that because they think they're in the money. They're on a power trip, feel me? Like, they don't need. I mean, they do need them. They do need Leonardo DiCaprio. That was one of the biggest movies ever. But you know, at the time, you know, it's like Jolo saw opportunity and he took it, bro. That's what y'all gotta do. I mean, that's what I gotta do. Feel me? I don't know why I'm thinking like I made it, bro. I ain't made nothing, bro. I'm in the works though. You feel me? I'm in the works, bro. You'll see, bro.
Result, Jolo himself was personally named in the film's credits. Plus, when Leo won a Golden Globe for his role in the movie, he gave Jolo a shout out in his acceptance speech.
Thank Joey, Riz, and Joe. Thank you for being not only collaborators, but taking a risk on this movie, truly.
Jolo had made
That's goated.
his first big move into Hollywood. Although there is an obvious irony that a film like The Wolf of Wall Street would essentially be financed with stolen money, especially given the crazy partying lifestyle of the guy who funded it. What's really interesting though, is that the real life guy that The Wolf of Wall Street is based on, Jordan Belfort, didn't trust Jolo at all. Belfort was invited to one of Jolo's parties to celebrate them buying the rights to his story. However, Belfort commented that something didn't seem right when he saw how overly extravagant the event was, and he said, "You wouldn't spend money you work for like that. This has got to be stolen." However, most people around Jolo were happy not to ask too many questions, and so Jolo's company later acquired a stake in EMI Music Publishing, and he even joined the firm's advisory boards. Between the Wolf of Wall Street movie and the EMI deal, Jolo was putting himself on the map as more than just a guy who threw big parties. Jolo's intention now was to build a Exchange, a crypto trading platform with a ton of great features. Firstly, you can buy crypto with your card in just a couple of clicks, or from a convenient app with fast deposits and with. Secondly, you can also stake your crypto and earn money by referring people who are, thanks to Waves' referral program. So income, check out waves.exchange. It is really easy to get started. Just click the link.
That's over 60 seconds in an ad. That's not even the ad from the YouTube ad.
Tim Leissner was head of Goldman Sachs' Asia division, and Jolo had been wooing him. He'd arranged for a private jet to come and pick Tim up, and then taken him to a meeting with one of the richest sheiks in the world. After giving Tim an extremely luxurious trip, Jolo explained his intentions, that he wanted Goldman Sachs to help 1MDB raise more money through bond sales. The truth was that Jolo knew that they needed the credibility of a big Wall Street bank like Goldman Sachs to ensure the whole thing looked legitimate. So they made a deal where Goldman Sachs would issue a bond and sell that bond to investors. Now, investors were told that their money would help pay for power plants. But the problem was, 1MDB had no credit rating, which made it very hard to convince people to invest. So, to make the power plant deals look better, Goldman Sachs used their credibility and paired 1MDB up with Abu Dhabi's Sovereign Wealth Fund, which had $70 billion in assets and solid credits.
That's crazy, bro. This man is out here doing finesse deals with Goldman and Sachs and Abu Dhabi, and then go. Oh, whoa, my headline, where my kufi, whoa. Hold on, bro, I'm be back.
Suddenly, the package looked much more enticing to investors. 1MDB itself wasn't that appealing, but 1MDB mixed with Abu Dhabi's wealth fund, plus with Goldman Sachs involved, that was enough for investors to buy into these bonds. In 2012, 1MDB issued $3.5 billion in bonds through Goldman Sachs. But as the official fund manager, Jolo used his old offshore tricks that he'd used before and diverted $1.4 billion of that money to an offshore company registered in the British Virgin Islands, which was another tax haven. Then in 2013, 1MDB issued $3 billion more bonds through Goldman Sachs, and Jolo once again diverted some of the funds through offshore accounts. So instead of that investor money going to power plants as advertised, Jolo had been siphoning billions of dollars into more shell companies which he controlled. He also used some of that money to pay off everyone who had helped him pull this off, including Tim Leissner from Goldman Sachs, but the rest was Jolo's to keep. Jolo now had billions of dollars in his offshore accounts, which allowed his crazy spending to continue, or if anything, get crazier. Famous art, massive houses, and of course, yet more gambling and partying. A big kickback also went to Najib to keep the Prime Minister happy and make sure he didn't ask too many questions. Plus, Jolo figured the money from the bond sales would help cover 1MDB.
Hey bro, one thing about bro, you gotta keep everybody happy, bro. If you're doing stuff like that, or like you're just like, even if you're doing it on a minuscule scale, bro, you gotta keep everybody happy, bro. Second, you don't keep everybody happy, bro, you have a op. GG's, bro. That's just a rule of the game, you feel me? Like, you can watch, like, bro, I know, bro. You know why, bro? Because I watch movies, bro. You feel me, bro? I know the game, bro. Come on now.
These growing losses. As for Goldman Sachs, they got around $600 million in fees and revenue, which reporters later said is around 200 times more than they'd usually make on a deal that.
Nah, yeah, he right. Wait, 200, 600, 300, like 30,000.
That size, indicating they knew full well something very shady was going on, but didn't ask any questions in return for a big payout. Because remember, without Goldman Sachs getting involved and giving their experience and reputation to the bonds, there's no way 1MDB would have been able to raise so much money. But still, how did Jolo actually manage to siphon off billions of dollars for himself? Firstly, one strategy was setting up bank accounts under fake company names that resembled real firms. For example, they created a shell company called BlackRock Commodities Global Limited, which sounds just like the giant global investment company BlackRock. So it was easy for anyone looking at the transaction to assume the money was being sent to genuine big companies, so it didn't raise any obvious red flags. When, in reality, they were just fake shell companies with very similar names. Another strategy Jolo used is called layering, moving funds from one offshore bank account to another, making them look like real transactions or loans, and adding layers of complexity until the original source of the funds is hidden, as it's very hard to track these offshore accounts registered in tax havens. Jolo also had another scheme where he transferred money to trust accounts at US law firms, because client confidentiality rules in the US mean those accounts are hardly regulated. But most importantly of all, Jolo was able to pull this off because he knew that transactions between governments attracted a lot less scrutiny from auditors and banks. Government funds are simply not as transparent as with a regular company. As a result of all this, it's estimated in total that around $4.5 billion was stolen from 1MDB. Jolo treated the fund that was meant to help Malaysia as his personal bank account. Of course, Najib, the Malaysian Prime Minister, knew full well that 1MDB wasn't as legitimate as it seemed, because he was receiving secret money from the fund for his own political ambitions. However, Jolo had promised him that the fund would enhance relationships with the Middle East and help bring investment and developments in Malaysia. So Najib didn't think Jolo would literally just steal so much of the money. Then again, giving Jolo completely unregulated power over a multi-billion-dollar fund was always going to be very risky. But still, back in Malaysia, people were starting to ask more questions about the 1MDB fund. Like, what was happening with all that money? Why wasn't Malaysia getting all the developments they'd been promised?
Spelling checks are so 90s. It's time for a writing tool that can actually understand.
What happened? The crumbling?
Luckily,
let me guess. It has something to do with the Prime Minister. Either he didn't make him happy, feel me? Because he made those promises, bro. Like I said, bro, you gotta keep everybody happy. Unless you like go to exterior moves, which is very bad. If you know, you know. Feel me? You gotta make everybody happy, or maybe he acted more powerful than the Prime Minister, which I doubt would happen. He's too smart for that. So I think I feel like he just didn't make everybody happy, bro. Let's see what happens.
for Jolo, he still had the Prime Minister Najib on his side, so he wasn't in any danger. Of course, the reason he had the Prime Minister on his side was that Jolo was still funneling a lot of that stolen money into financing Najib's political campaigns, including money to throw massive events or give to charity to make Najib look good. So 1MDB continued to burn through money. In fact, it went several billions of dollars into debt. And then in 2015, a whistleblower leaked emails to the press, which included key information which would bring Jolo's schemes to light, and help the world realize the full scale of the scam Jolo had pulled off. The emails caused more people to dig into what was happening, and soon it started to become clearer about the scam that had taken place. Hundreds of thousands of Malaysian citizens took to the streets to protest and demand that Najib resign for his involvement in the 1MDB fund.
Whoa.
But he didn't resign. Najib thought by the time of the next election, it would have all blown over. For Jolo, as allegations about what he'd done started to come out in the media in 2015, he realized he was going to have to go into hiding. Jolo still had vast amounts of cash, so he'd still be able to live an extremely comfortable life, but just very isolated, which he hated. He didn't even like being by himself in his room. It was also around this time that his girlfriend Miranda Kerr broke up with him. Then, in May 2018, Najib had a shock election defeat and was voted out, with his party losing for the first time in 60 years. In fact, it was the first regime change in Malaysia's entire history, which just shows how understandably angry the Malaysian people were.
Whoa, bro, this is deep. Like, this is deeper than Najib. In 60 years, the political party won and then finally they lost right after Jolo did all that. I mean,
at the corruption that had taken place. Right after the election, Najib and his wife attempted to flee the country, but protesters at the airport stopped them. Najib claimed he was simply leaving the country for a golf trip. But it was obvious Najib knew what was coming now that he was no longer in power. Shortly after this, police raided Najib's house and found $274 million worth of goods, including endless amounts of expensive jewelry, handbags, tiaras and watches, along with $28 million in cash. It was clear Najib had been bribed. Anti-corruption officials arrested the former prime minister in his mansion. He was convicted of multiple crimes and sentenced to 12 years in prison. But he's currently appealing, claiming these were all genuine political donations. And in the meantime, he's still part of the representative arm of the government. But as for Jolo, he was long gone. He'd disappeared. Some sources suggested he'd gone to live in China and could be residing in a villa owned by a high-ranking Chinese party official. There's even reports he was briefly spotted at a Victoria's Secret party in Shanghai, suggesting he's still trying to live out the party lifestyle, albeit much more low-key than he would want. As for Tim Leisner, the ex-Goldman Sachs manager who helped 1MDB, he pled guilty to conspiracy to commit bribery and money laundering. Whilst Goldman Sachs tried to say it was just a few rogue employees who'd been involved in helping 1MDB launder money, in Tim's guilty plea, he said that avoiding compliance was part of the Goldman Sachs culture. Ultimately though, the people who suffered most in all this were the Malaysian people, who were left with all the debts. 1MDB was sold as a development project that would be of benefit to all Malaysian people, but in reality, it was a cash grab, a big betrayal of the people. Billions of dollars of Malaysian gold.
see, greed, bro. There's a reason why greed is a sin, bro. It's one of the major sins, bro. Man, all the people invested all that money into the future and went to nothing, bro.
Government money had been stolen and disappeared into a hidden labyrinth of offshore bank accounts and shell companies. Even to this day, the FBI is still trying to piece everything together, and that is money that could have genuinely helped a lot of people. Now, it's important to state that pretty much everyone involved, from Jolo to Najib to Goldman Sachs, all deny they did anything wrong. What is clear is this scam was an example of how the financial system can be so easily manipulated. Powerful people.
Hey, bro, sometimes A plus B equals C. And sometimes A plus B plus E plus F equals C. You feel me? Like, some things are just common sense. You don't need no statistics calculator for it, bro. You don't need no calculus calculator. You don't need no technical analysis. It's just steps. It's just amount of risk people are willing to take those steps, bro. Like, a lot of it is a mental game. A lot of people are stuck inside a box. I would say myself included, bro. You don't see me. I mean, you don't even know me, bro. You don't know me. Feel me? You don't know, bro. You getting to know Big AK, bro. I'm gonna tell you right now, bro. This YouTube channel is a documentary of my life, bro. Feel me? That's what it is, bro. There's gonna be some gems in here, bro. There's gonna be some gems along the way. You about to see me reach a milli. But in reality, my bank account's about to be like a Billy Millie. Yes, sir. Right, let's get back into it.
And big banks are incentivized not to ask too many questions as long as they're making money on these deals. And perhaps most crazy of all, Jolo technically is still a free man. And you...
Cause he's a Jolo goat. You already know. He in the flow. You already know. Cold.
You could say he got away with it, but there are many countries he can no longer visit, and he has no choice but to lay low, the exact opposite of what he wanted to do. Reports suggest that towards the end of this, Jolo had gone from being quite a happy, relaxed guy to being very anxious and paranoid. And the truth is, even when he was living what many would describe as an ultimate fantasy, being so rich, partying with movie stars and models on jets and yachts, Jolo never seemed truly happy in the moment, at least not according to those who met him. He seemed desperate to be liked and respected, which is perhaps why he kept chasing more and more money, instead of quitting while he was ahead, which ultimately led to his downfall. Now, whilst the story of Jolo is pretty mad, I still wouldn't call him the craziest billionaire. For that, you're going to want to check out the ridiculous and inspiring story of Masayoshi Son. And you can click right here to watch that mini documentary now.
You know, that's the end of the video, but I would say, like, key takeaways from the videos, you feel me? At least for me, like, a lot of things that Jolo did is like what you need to do if you want to, you know, break out the matrix, break it out of the system. Like connections, like this. I'm gonna say, all right, I'm gonna break it down. These are the key takeaways. 1, you gotta think smarter, not harder. You know what I mean? Like what Jolo was doing, right? When he was doing the newspaper for his press, he was just copy and pasting, blah blah blah, and he's putting it, and he was saying it was his own. Feel me? He knew that his connections, if he became friends with this person, or he was already friends with him, but he knew his dad was a powerful person, you know? He worked his way up there. He knew also the game of how to set up the IMDb. And then after that, he knew that he had to get all those connections, all the people, all those parties, blah, blah, blah. But I would say where his fault at is, like, simple, bro. So one of the major sins, bro, is greed, bro. It's fame. Probably arrogancy into that too, bro. That's all the things that'll lead you astray. And that's exactly what happened to him. This is a perfect example. This is a lifestyle that people be craving about. And this video shows you what happened in the beginning and what happened in the end, bro. And even in the middle, you know, he probably wasn't like that, bro. Like, morally, like, I would say, bro, see, I'm a Muslim, bro. As a Muslim, bro, you could take some things away from this and apply it to yourself as a Muslim. But, like, when it comes to, like, when you're committing haram in the middle of doing that, not so much, bro. Like, you can't really be doing that, bro. This is the facts right now. I already know it's about to blow up on TikTok or whatever, bro. The greatest connection you can have, like, you know how he has connected to the prime minister, he's connected to all Leonardo DiCaprio, all these rich people, Goldman and Sachs. The greatest connection you have is to Allah and the deen. Feel me? The dunya is temporary. If you have Allah in your corner, like, you can do anything you want. And Allah, you know, he'll do what's, if you ask for it and you do what you're supposed to do, he'll do what's best for you. You feel me? But, like, yeah, bro, I'm telling you guys right now, bro, you guys should really rewatch this video. Also, another key takeaway, bro, I promise you that guy, Jolo, he read the book 48 Laws of Power. 100%, bro. No way he didn't. He read the 48 Laws of Power. You feel me? And, you know, he took risks, common steps, bro. It's just, bro, it was almost checkers, not even chess, you know? But after you got, like, the 800 mil, that's when it started to turn to chess, bro. But, yeah, bro, there you got it, bro. The man who robbed an entire country, Jolo. Mad gems in this video, bro. I would recommend watch it, rewatch it, share it, like, subscribe, see Big AK, you know? I feel like I gave a little some gems into the video, blah blah blah, you know. But overall, I really enjoy watching this video, bro. I'm really probably gonna watch it a lot, you know. And I'm probably gonna do mad research on Jolo. Feel me? If you're a kid or a college student or a high schooler or whatever, and you kind of know like you want to make breach, you feel me? I'm not talking about breach. I'm talking about breach, and you know you want to be out in the world and get those connections and all that type of stuff. You should be looking at people that already did it and people that are older. They'll tell you the whole blueprint. Feel me? You just gotta follow that blueprint, and it's all over, bro. It's about the doing, bro. It's about the risk, bro. Tough times never less. Tough people less. I'm gonna catch y'all. Big AK back at it again. I'm gonna catch y'all, bro. Y'all, you can leave now. All right, y'all. Big AK, like, comment, subscribe. I'm gonna catch y'all later. Peace.